Hello everyone. So I think I made it clear since the very beginning of the channel as well as in the name, but basically I'm an anarchist. And because of this, I'm also interested in transitioning I'm also interested in transitioning from capitalism to a decentralized mutual aid economy. So there's this specific idea that I've been investigating for a little while now. Though I don't know, and I don't know how I could call it, but basically, imagine that you have a network of sorts of multiple communes and autonomous zones trading with each other, and in a bunch of these communes, because of material conditions and in order to keep comfortable living conditions, some people still have to spend a bit of money on some stuff, and some like for a bunch of goods and services, and in return have to price their labor to their clients. In a sort of transitional economy from capitalism to actual mutual aid. Now, here are the key points of the economical model that I present. Okay. A. If a network of communes or autonomous zones in general is closed, which means that basically every single individual in the network is is able to be completely independent of external expenditures. So basically everything they have to pay for can be supplied within the network. Then why the fuck would anything in the commune cost any amount other than zero? Like €0, $0, $0 anything. Yeah, basically closed networks kind of directly imply that everything should be free, or at least should get there as quickly as possible. And B, individuals could only price their labor from free to the average total spending that they themselves make between each client sub. There's a bit of room for speculation in that case, because we can't always foresee exactly where we're gonna spend our stuff on, but as long as we stay within reasonable orders of magnitude, that's probably okay. Obviously, as the network grows larger, the chances of a network becoming closed increases, or at least so does its amount of closeness, I guess, which should lower the average expenditure of each individual and fortiori the average pricing. The average pricing, which by design would have to be less than or equal to the average spending anyway. So there are a lot of strategies you could use, to help dropping the expenditures within the network lower and lower, without having to compromise quality and comfort. Mainly to only talk about non-illegal stuff. You could get your suppliers in the intercommunal network. Eventually supply people in the commune or even in the whole fucking network itself more frequently, although as an anti-productivist myself, I'm not very fond of. You could try cheaper alternatives, etc. You could do a lot of things. The case of a network, where every supplier will price their service the amount of money to the clients that they themselves have to pay to sustain a good quality of life and supplies in that scenario. So basically, that means the maximal amount that they can price anyone in a commune still has a base case scenario, which I'm going to present and analyze. So, let's go to the spreadsheet. Oh, sorry. What's it called? I don't know. So let's say you have an infinite chain of people, each of which are related by being a client of their predecessor and a supplier for their successor, or vice versa, whatever. Each individual is paid 1,000 1,000 euros per service, and they only have to spend 500 between each service. What did I write in average? They are all like that. So yes, technically in average, but they're all like that. Let's say one of them decreases their price from 1,000 euros to 500 on the principle that we established. That effectively divides their price by 2, right? Now, let's say they get their supplier in on the idea as well. So, because of this, the first supplier effectively divides the price by 2 as well, which effectively means that the former individual can divide their spendings by 2. Henceforth, their price is once again cut in half. And yeah, so wait, where am I? Okay. As each supplier gets their supplier in on the idea as well, each individual in this bit of the chain cuts their spendings in half, and so does their price. The sum of all their spendings, which is as well the sum of all of their pricings, can be represented by the following sum. Okay. Funnily enough, as n grows larger, this sum actually tends to, 500 euros. Which means that in this scenario, a single person can basically fund the whole intercommunal network. Now, what if they don't cut their pricings in half but much lower instead? Well, it's complicated to estimate how much a person got paid by each client prior to entering the network, and as well to estimate how much they spend between each client now. But I'll circumvent that later. Moreover, there's clearly 2 physical limits to this analogy. For one, there isn't an infinite amount of people. But believe me, this is the less problematic one of the 2. Indeed, the other physical limit is that since each individual supplier demands 1,000 euros, only spending 500 euros between each client, that means that they all only see the supplier once every 2 times that their own clients asks for supplier for them. If, let's say, you go and see your supplier once a month, that means your client sees you twice a month. However, they go and see you every 2 times per client. They go and see you every 2 of their clients too. You see what I mean, hopefully. So that means that their client sees them 4 times a month. Yeah, that's what I said. Sorry, I'm stupid. Then their client's client sees them 8 times a month. Then their client's client sees them 16 times a month. I guess you get the idea anyway. And on the other way around, your supplier only sees theirs once every 2 months. Their supplier once every 4 months, etc. You know, you get the idea. They shouldn't be the same people, but anyway, fuck it. Fuck it. Or should it? I don't know. No, it shouldn't. But anyway, you see the point. Clearly, there's a big issue, so instead to transpose this idea to the real world with actual measures, the data tools that I'm going to use, although not perfect, will be monthly measures. And more precisely here, monthly averages of wages and spendings in the US and in France, for comparison's sake. So, where are stations spends about $5,100 per month, $5,100 per month. That's probably better. We only spend about 1,755 euros per month, if we include rent for both. However, things take an interesting turn when we check the average monthly wage in both countries. In the US, it's about, it seems, $4,043. When in France, it's about 25 euros. The interesting thing here is that although it's not the case in France, the average US wage is actually below the average spending. I guess it's mainly due to how many people have to accumulate jobs at the same time, which is one of the many reasons average monthly wages aren't usually a very solid measure, at least in this context. In February of this year, notably, 7.8% of US workers were estimated to have more than one job as of the first quarter of 2018. The earnings of the second jobs usually making up to 28% of their total earnings. Still though, that still doesn't make a lot of improvement even if we count all that in. The main way to spend less than one's wages per month in the US will be to remove housing spendings almost completely, which can be done through... Oh wait, no, I can't actually prone that on YouTube, right? Oh well, anyway, let's just say that if you remove the spendings on housing, you do get to about $378 per month in the US, which is, fortunately enough, below the average wage. And in France, it just gets us slightly lower at about 1,500 euros per month. Now, the ratio we could expect the prices of workers within the network to be multiplied by, hopefully getting the average down to zero each time a new number gets in, has to be less than or equal to the average spendings over the average payments or income or anything per month, for example. For the latter of which will replace by the average wage, even though once again it's far from being a perfect measure. The closer to and basically to kind of interpret that ratio, the closer it is to zero, the fewer people and the fewer money will be needed to run the whole network's economy, right? The closer to 1 the ratio gets, while still being less than 1, the more people will have to be brought in. If the ratio is equal to 1, it just means that that we basically keep the same economy exactly. And if the ratio is above, well, you probably fucked up somewhere. Or you will need to decommodify a bunch of things like, I don't know, housing. So, anyway, this ratio is about 83.55% in the US, which is a fucking lot, and 59.4% in France. Not good, but not bad. I mean, not bad, but not good. However, it's really bad in the US. I'm sorry. So, the minimal amount of people in share, according to this ratio that I'm going to call R, to run the whole economy within the network can be obtained with so these formulas. Wait, I kind of need to, you know, there we go. With these formulas, okay, and basically, so basically that gives us 6 people with about 85% of their share in the US. In France, we'd get that only 2 people with a share of 74% will suffice, theoretically. So here's a little animation that I actually made on Demosmos to show exactly that. So with respect to that same ratio. Here, the bar from 1 to 2, not 1 to 3, fucking script, is actually 1 over R, since it's how I mean, that's basically the OR thing that I use in my original computations, but I figured it just made more sense seeing R as basically a percentage of sorts instead. It's probably a bit more intuitive. Since we get the minimal amount of people required to run the economy, as well as, you know... Oh, actually, I didn't put that. Oh, okay. But, okay, never mind. So, since we get all that with, like, respectively by sailing R over 1 minus R, for, you know, to give the minimal amount of people we need, on one hand, and that on the other hand, we have to take that like that R over 1 minus R and divide by the previous amount. You can see why I would consider that R over 1 minus R is a very important measure in that kind of economy. So yeah, you can also write it as S over 1 I minus S, as I was supposed to put in one of the slideshows, but I didn't because I'm an idiot. But basically, so in normal terms, it means the average spending over the average income minus the average spending. And since it's basically the result of a geometric series, that means it's the result of a sum of powers of ratios. I will just call that that measure R over 1 minus R, or spendings over income minus spending. I will call that the spending income geometric series, or SIGS for short. And to explain more clearly what its purpose is, although I mean, I tried to explain, but I'm gonna summarize it here because it's probably a lot to digest. Basically, it serves as a tool to figure out if such a monetary transitional system is viable by being less than or equal to how many people will be needed at least to run the whole economy with such a system. The decimal places allowing one to compute the exact share that they would have to share with the rest of the network, or even the commune itself. So yeah, anyway, I think I'm basically done here. Yeah, I'm sure my model isn't perfect in any way, shape, or form, but I hope that people, including myself, will be able to improve on it if they want to, obviously. I'll probably come back to this specific concept every so often, so maybe I'll make a follow-up video one day in the future, and eventually credit, I will credit, don't worry, I will credit people who helped me reformulate stuff, fix a bunch of issues, etc. I'll leave the like a sort of Desmos tool that allows you to do the same kind of graphics, as in the prior animation in the description, with your own values of average spendings and incomes. In the meantime, have a good practice, comrades. See you all next time.